Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing and talking about 5 different players that are going to be involved in the upcoming Euros that we think are going to be dark horses and very important key players for their team. All of the 5 players that we're going to be mentioning are aged 22 or younger, so they're definitely youngsters to keep your eye on here on She Scores Bangers. The likes of Lauren Hemp, Chloe Kelly, Salma Basha, as well as Claudia Pina for Spain, Lucher for Holland, Bull for Germany, as well as Riola for Switzerland. Those are only some of the mentioned players that we already know that are going to go into the competition with a lot of high expectations around them. Now, the players we have chosen for this list are those that we do not see a lot of people having high expectations for them. They're kind of the youngsters that have been under the radar for the last few months, specifically the last few years or so. They're going to be players that we think are going to go above and beyond expectations. They're going to be the next youngsters to break and become the next Lauren Hemp, become the next Bull. This list is also in no specific order. We're kind of just going from 1 to 5. First and foremost on our list is Jule Brand. Born in 2002, the young forward has played her club football mostly at Hoffenheim, scoring many crucial goals and having a mountain of assists. She was also an important role in the club's first Champions League campaign this year, almost knocking out Arsenal in the group stages. And unsurprisingly, she caught the attention of many big clubs. The biggest ones who were able to sign her were actually Wolfsburg. What was really interesting about this deal actually is that they were able to secure her with a year remaining on her contract, which really tells you how many clubs are begging to have that youngster play for them. She got her first senior call-up with the German team in 2021, where she was only 18. She was also able to get a goal and an assist in the first 5 minutes after being subbed on her debut appearance. What makes her so special is that her pace and movement is so ridiculously good, and when you pair that up with the superb footwork that she possesses, she causes defenders and defensive midfielders tons and tons of trouble. Behind the defenders, the goalkeepers are also in trouble, as her finishing is honestly one of the deadliest I have seen for an 18-year-old. It's so accurate and strong. It's kind of scary at times. She's got so much quality behind her and around her with the likes of Leah Schuler, who is extremely experienced, Lena McGill, as well as her other youngster teammate Clara Bull, who's been on fire lately as well. The 2 youngsters are going to be such a problematic duo for any defensive line they come up against. They both have different key qualities where combined together are going to be really important for Germany in a lot of stages. Germany definitely struggled here with having a ton of young players, and one would argue that maybe they're not as experienced as the older ones on the team. In situations of pressure, they might crumble since they haven't put in such big stages before. The game is growing so quickly and so fastly that these modern new players bring in a different lens and perspective to those older players, where when you mix the two, it's a perfect balance between experience and tough mentality, as well as that young, passionate, desire player that is up and coming in the team, wanting to put their name in the team and really making a stamp. The second player, Ella Toone. The Manchester United player has looked so good and active playing under Serena. She reads the game very well in terms of intercepting lost possession and making something valuable out of it. If you've seen her play, she is not one that is shy to take a shot, and she has tons of confidence under her, despite not getting as many minutes as her other young teammates like Stanway or Walsh or those just slightly older than her. But whenever she's subbed on, her movement and just overall role in the 10 specifically is very efficient and precise. And so let's say she's only playing 45 minutes of the game. Her energy is so well stored and used that she's almost always going to be a pair of fresh legs, you could say. Specifically in this Euros, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of games go into extra time, possibly even to penalties. And I think having a young midfielder like that who is very smart and intelligent about their energy levels and how they spend it could be that cherry on the top to put kind of England past the team they're going up against. She will certainly be a very important key player for England and one to look out for. The third one on the list, and I'm pretty sure I'm butchering her name, but it's Anthenea Del Castillo. The 21-year-old Spanish winger plays for Real Madrid. Her rise to the Spanish team has been actually pretty quiet. Unlike many of her other Spanish teammates and stars, she didn't necessarily come up from the Barcelona youth system or the Real Madrid youth system or the Atletico's youth system. In fact, she actually used to play for Deportivo, which she was relegated with them, and after their relegation, it kind of did not make sense for her to stay with them, and Madrid jumped on to sign her. She was only 19 at the time, and it was kind of wasted talent if she was to stay with a relegated team. It's not usual that you see big clubs like this who are competing for Champions League spots. They're competing with one of the biggest clubs in the world, Barcelona, very often, week in and week out even at times. Go after her and sign her and occasionally include her in the starting 11. Earlier this year, during the Arnold Clark Cup, she was actually able to win the best player of the competition. And get this, what was so funny about it is that she was not actually called up for the squad or to be involved in that international break at all, and only got her chance in there after she replaced an injured player. And I'm glad she kind of got that opportunity because she was causing Lucy Bronze all sorts of trouble with their game against England. She was giving the Canadian backline tons of trouble, and I really hope Vilda is able to use her correctly and let her do her work on the wings. A lot of his decision making and player choices have been a little bit questionable for myself personally, and so I really hope with this one he does not mess it up and really gives that youngster the opportunity, because clearly when she was given the chance to go against some top level players, I mean, you're talking about Lucy Bronze, and she was definitely giving her a tough day. Number 4 on the list also happens to be the youngest one on the list. It is Esmee Bos, who is only 18 going into the Euros right now. She's been playing her football at PSV since she was only 16, and this season she was able to record 7 goals as well as plenty of assists. Not only until recently she got her first cap in April of this year, where she also earned her first senior goal in a game against Cyprus. Before joining the senior squad, she had 20 goals in 25 games with the youth system. She plays with a lot of skill and flair. She's got height on her as well, almost kind of reminds me of Chloe Kelly a little bit. Because she's so new to the senior squad, I don't think she's going to be getting as much game time as everybody would want her to get. But with whatever minutes she's going to have, I think those minutes are probably going to increase throughout the competition. The Dutch team obviously has a little too much talent up top, you could say, in the forward section specifically, so it's hard who she's going to be competing with. But definitely the group stages of the competitions against teams who the Netherlands are maybe favored to win, I feel like her minutes are going to rack up a little. When you have those youngsters that you can kind of trust on the field, you can save your big players to bigger games to kind of avoid injury. If she can achieve that, break, it's only going to be upwards for that Dutch woman from here. The last one on the list for us here is going to be the Norwegian midfielder Frida Maanum, which actually, even though she's a youngster and she's only 22, she's already had 50 international caps for the senior squad. It's such a wild achievement that it puts her in this golden box, that even though she's so young and has so much talent, she's also so experienced, you could say. Speaking of experience, she had 3 very successful years playing in Sweden with Linköping, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and was signed with WSL giants Arsenal last summer. And let's be honest, this year Norway is looking extremely dangerous. Not only is there star players on their team, but those star players have been on absolute fire and fine form over the last season. Maanum was able to secure Norway a place in the Euros after she scored the game-winning goal against Wales in the qualifications. She's been very active in the World Cup qualifications as well, scoring in 3 out of the last 5 games they've had. She's often featured in the starting 11 for Norway and has a very good ability to maneuver the midfield very comfortably. She's physical enough to put some battles when dropping backwards and defending, but is also not afraid to take a shot when the opportunity presents itself when she is upwards on the field. Her long passes to cut spaces have drastically improved over the last year or two. Last season with Arsenal, she hasn't really had a fixed position. Sometimes she was playing the 6 or the 8th or the 10. It really hasn't been stabilized until now. But with Norway, you always see her in the 8th position, and she does brilliantly well at it. There's a reason she's been featured 50 times on the national squad, only at 22. She guarantees that the midfield is never really going to die out, and it honestly does not die out when she's there. A lot of times when you see teams being defeated, the midfield kind of sleeps. But when you look at Maanum and her role in the midfield on the national team, she often wakes it up when it's dying down a little bit. And like discussed earlier, these Euros are not going to be an easy one. I feel like many of the games are going to go to extra time. And her versatility to be able to draw backwards a little bit, help out with the defending, but also move forwards and build an attack is going to keep that fluid movement going on, but also stay very disciplined in the game plan. And I'm very excited for her to kind of shock people and really show them how important of a role she's going to be in whatever Norway is able to succeed. So those are the 5 players that we think are going to be the dark horse of their team in the upcoming Euros. I'm very excited to see how they're able to progress from the group stages to the quarters to the semis and eventually who's going to make it into the finals. We as fans are very lucky to live in this era where we're seeing these 18, 19, 20-year-olds grow the game and build it to what it's going to be in the next few years. Definitely don't blink when a lot of these veterans are playing, or the other youngsters that we haven't mentioned, specifically Lauren Hemp. Honestly, I feel like the worst thing you can do watching an England game when Lauren Hemp is playing is blink an eye, because she's lightning fast and can change the course of a game within seconds. Thank you so much for joining us on today's quick video. We're going to keep updating you on the Euros, as well as many analysis and recap videos when the games start to kick off. Make sure you subscribe to us here and follow us on Twitter to stay updated and to continue enjoying the beautiful game. I will see you later.